щиро дякуємо вам, що ви знову тут, щоб підтримати Україну у цей складний час. Ми стоїмо тут, тому що Україна єдина! Україна єдина! Україна єдина! Україна єдина! Ми стоїмо тут проти диктатури, ми стоїмо тут, тому що ми віримо, що Україна може бути незалежною, процвітаючою країною. Так само вірив Тарас Шевченко, великий поет та письменник. 200 years ago, Taras Shevchenko, a great patriot and fighter for freedom of oppression and dictatorship in Ukraine, was born. If he was here today, guess where he would be? He would be at Maidan, burning tires, helping those wounded, and fighting against dictatorship and Putin. He would also be there with our heroes, because he once said, "Немає в світі України, немає другого Дніпра." That's why Shevchenko з Майданом, Shevchenko з Майданом, Shevchenko з Майданом. Unfortunately, another 100 of heroes had to join them in heaven instead. And today, we want to pay tribute to those heroes and our first hero, Taras Shevchenko. Because герої не вмирають. 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 Here are the heroes that have laid their lives for Ukraine. Мазуренко Павло Анатолійович, Вербицький Юрій Тарасович, Нігоян Сергій Хавікович, Жизневський Михайло Михайлович, Сеник Роман Федорович, Калиняк Богдан Михайлович, Синенко Сергій Петрович, Дідич Сергій Васильович, Піщук Володимир Юрійович, Шаповал Сергій Борисович, Сердюк Ігор, Курція Зураб, Дворянець Антоніна, Перемій В'ячеслав, Преснюк Валерій Олександрович, Корчак Андрій, Наумов Володимир Григорійович, Капінос Олександр Анатолійович, Леханов Олександр Вікторович, Зайко Яків Яковлевич, Кульчицький Володимир Станіславович, Черненко Андрій, Пасхалін Юрій Олександрович, Васильцов Віталій Валерійович, Варениця Роман Михайлович, Пантелеєв Іван Миколайович, Точин Роман Петрович, Чмеленко Віктор, Ушневич Олег, Ткачук Ігор, Царьок Олександр Миколайович, Голоднюк Устим Володимирович, Щербанюк Олександр Миколайович, Костенко Ігор Ігорович, Шилін Йосип Михайлович, Паращук Юрій Григорович, Цябульський Миколай Степанович, Сольчаник Богдан Зиновійович, Бондарчук Сергій Михайлович, Захаров Володимир Костянтинович, Смеленко Віктор, Смоленський Віталій Віталійович, Чернець Віктор, Павор Дмитро, Стевдалович Андрій Іванович, Вайда Богдан Іванович, Кіпіані Давид, Бондарьов Сергій Анатолійович, Гурик Роман, Дмитров Ігор, Корнієв Анатолій Петрович, Коцюба Віталій, Панасюк Валерій Адамович, Павлюк Володимир, Паньков Миколай, Прабаченко Олександр, Шимко Максим, Тур Іван Іванович, Тарасюк Іван, Полянський Леонід Петрович, Саєнко Андрій, Котляр Євген.
Я не здужую ні в року, а щось таке є, бачить око, і серце жде чогось. Болить, болить і плаче, і не спить, мов негодована дитина. Лихої, тяжкої години, мабуть, ти ждеш. Добра не жди сподіваної волі, вона заснула, цар її приспав. А щоб збудить херенну волю, треба миром, громадою обух сталить. Та добре вигострить сокиру, та й заходиться вже будить, а то проспить собі небога до суду Божого страшного. А панство буде колихать, храми, палати мурувать, любить царя свого п'яного, та й візантійство прославлять, та й більше бачиться нічого.
Мій Боже милий, знову лихо. Було так любо, було так тихо. Ми заходились розкувати своїм невольникам кайдани. Аж гульк, і знову потекла мужицька кров. Кати вінчані, мов пси голодні, за маслак гризуться знов.
Чорна рілля і зоряна, гей, гей. Чорна рілля і зоряна, і кров'ю засіяна, гей, гей. І трубами засіяна. Білим тілом зволочена, гей, гей. Білим тілом зволочена і кров'ю сполочена, гей, гей. І кров'ю сполочена. Вітер віє по долині, гей, гей. Вітер віє по долині, лежить козак на могилі, гей, гей. Лежить козак на могилі. Летить ворон з чужих сторон, гей, гей. Летить ворон, усікає, йому очі випиває, гей, гей. Йому очі випиває.
Ви, розбойники неситі, голодні ворони, по якому правдивому, святому закону, і землею всім даною, і сердечним людом торгуєте. Стережіться ж, бо лихо вам буде, тяжке лихо. Дуріть дітей і брата сліпого, дуріть себе, чужих людей, та не дуріть Бога. Бо в день радості над вами розпадеться кара, і повіє огонь новий з нового Майдана. І вам слава, сині гори, кригою окуті, І вам, лицарі великі, Богом не забуті. Борітеся, поборете. Вам Бог помагає. За вас правда, за вас сила і воля святая.
Як умру, то поховайте на могилі. Серед степу широко на
I would like to invite Father Oleg Yurek and Father Dr. Yaroslav Butora with clergy to pray.
В ім'я Отця і Сина, і Святого Духа. Амінь. Господи Ісусе Христе, Боже наш, що на поправиці Бога Отця сидиш, та на праведних та на знедолих споглядаєш. Боже милосердний Ти, що послухав Моїсея, коли він простягнув до Тебе руки, народ Ізраїля зміцнив амалектян з голові Ісуса Навина, на битву і повелів сонцю встати. Ти і нині, Владико Господи, почуй нас смиренних Твоїх слуг землі української, що руки свої до Тебе простягають і моляться Тобі. Зміцни силою Твоєю побожний і багатостражданий народ України від віковічного ворога зневолення і зла. Благослови Його справі, привнось славу Його перемогою над ворогами. Зміцни всемогутньою Твою правицею Його державу. Збережи Його мирне військо, пошли ангела Твого на зміцнення їх, подай їм усе, що просять на спасіння. Прийми, Боже наш, ворожнечу і спокій утверди. Простягни, Господи, невидимого правицю Твою, яка рабів Твоїх заступає в усьому. Нехай вона свята стане Україні, невидимим заступником і омофором Твоєї небесної слави. Тим же, кому судив Ти покласти душу свою в небесній сотні за вільну Україну, побожний народ наш і державу, прости їхні провини, і в день праведної відплати Твої подай їм вінці нетління. Владико чоловіколюбче, царю віків і подавче добра, який зруйнував мури ворожнечі та спокій подав людському родові. Даруй нині спокій слугам Твоїм, нашим братам і сестрам в Україні. Вкорінив в них страх Твій і віру безмежну, утверди любов один до одного, застій всякий розбрат, відверни всі спокуси незгоди. Молимо Тебе, Божа Мати, заступниця нашого українського роду, не переставай заступати Сину Твоєму за зневолених і віковічно знеславних синів і дочок Твоєї України, котрі простягають руки свої за Твій небесний покровський омофор. Просимо Тебе, Цариця Небесна, не залиши моління нашого в час журби і боротьби за своє майбутнє. Так як Ти, Божа Мати, слухала голос Сина Твого Христа розтяхованого, вислухай наші прохання, які безнастанно заносять Тобі слуги Твої, котрих ворог знову притягує до Христа поневолення. Переможні заступники сил всіх святих України, моліть Бога Небесного за надію і перемогою над нашими ворогами, котрі несуть нещастя та супротивну силу Церкві Святій. Боже, спаси народ Твій, бо Твоя держава, царство і сила, слава на віки вічні. Амінь.
Господи Ісусе Христе, Ти завжди нагороджуєш найбагатшими скарбами Твоєї безконечної любові, Твоїх вірних слуг, за їх праведне життя. І то не тільки вічною прославою в Твоєму небесному царстві, але часто тут на землі прославляєш їх за те, що вони з особливою ревністю змагалися для Твоєї слави і поширення і закріплення Твого царства між людьми. Покірно благаємо Тебе, зволь прославити вірного слугу митрополита Андрея Шептицького, що впродовж свого праведного життя був добрим пастиром свого стада і великим подвижником єдності в нашому українському народові. Предобрий і всещедрий Господи, подай нам, щоб за посередництвом слуги Божого митрополита Андрея прийшла духовна, суспільна і державна онова в Україні. Спинилося насилля над нашим народом і засвітив йому мир і злагода, щоб на нашій українській землі утворилася відновлена християнська рідна хата, про яку Твій Господи, слуга Божий Андрей навчав, основана на святому Божому законі. Оце ж сьогодні ми усильно благаємо за посередництвом святих молитов слуги Божого митрополита Андрея. Господи, Ісусе Христе, Сину Божий, помилуй нас. Амінь.
Слава Україні! Вічна слава героям Майдана! We are proud to be here standing with you in the memory of Taras Shevchenko, that first great hero, in the conviction that our democracy, that our parliaments, that our people, freedom-loving people, are more powerful than any army. We're here on our civic square, in front of one of our great city halls, a symbol of our democracy. And we're here to send a clear message. Free people will not stand for the military occupation of Crimea or any other part of Ukraine. Free people will not tolerate the annexation of territory by any leader. However great their nostalgia for Joseph Stalin or love of KGB values, we will not stand for it. Free people will not allow international law and the aspirations of free Ukrainians to be trampled. We, as Canadians, are justly proud of our achievements, and we are equally proud of our roots. In Ukraine, and around the world. We know what it is to fight for freedom. There's a war memorial just over there that reminds us about those fights. We know what it is to flee tyranny, to be refugees from conflict, to be victims of Soviet and communist brutality. Stalin's outrages, his numberless crimes, were one of humanity's darkest chapters. But they also brought Canada some of our greatest immigrants. And we honor Stalin's victims, the victims of the whole Soviet legacy, the victims of Yanukovych as well, by speaking out against Putin's illegal occupation of Crimea. That is why we have condemned this invasion. That's why we've rejected the farce of a vote at Russian gunpoint. That's why we have sent the few Russian military officers and soldiers who are studying this country packing back home. That's why we've withdrawn our ambassador. That's why we are banning those responsible for the violence, both in the Yanukovych and Putin regimes, from travel to Canada. We are taking action because we understand the lessons of history. Canada is showing leadership because we know how the world, how Ukraine, and how Russia, under this arbitrary leader, this terribly misguided leader, got to this dangerous place. When a Russian president thinks he can save his own golden faucets by making the most egregious violations of the UN Charter in a generation, he is making a big mistake. No territory in Europe has been forcibly annexed since the time of the Nazis and their one-time ally Joseph Stalin, and no free people around the world, and there are billions of free people around the world, will stand for new divisions, new annexation in Europe or anywhere else. We will put our feet down.
Right on! Right on! Right on!
And with your permission, let me send a short message to Vladimir Vladimirovich in a language he will understand. Мы вас знаем, Владимир Владимирович. Мы знаем, что вы вторглись в Грузию, что вы создали огромный конфликт в Сирии, уже 150 тысяч убитых в Сирии. Это ответственность, по большому счету, Путина. Вы хотите, чтобы Украина стала новым плацдармом для грабежа, для коррупции, для олигархов, для боязни. Но украинцы сказали нет. Они не допустят, чтобы Россия играла такую роль на территории свободной, европейской, современной Украины. Ukrainians have already rejected you. You know, 3 days after Russian forces invaded Ukraine, Putin could not even acknowledge that they were there. He did not have the courage. He did not have any commitment, and has rarely had, perhaps never had, any commitment to telling the truth. Instead, he said it was a covert operation, and hoped the masks would hide the identities of these occupiers. By doing these things, Putin is a disgrace to his country and an insult to Ukrainians, That's why no leader of any free nation will be attending any summit in Sochi. That's why we are standing with Ukrainians as they unite to build a stronger country. That's why Canada will support the new spirit of the Maidan, which is saying no to the past, yes to a bright future, yes to Europe, yes to a Euro-Atlantic future with Canada as one of its principal allies, yes to honesty and accountability, yes to the rule of law, yes to a new future, democratic future, starting in May 2014, and yes to the support of the whole world as we all condemn the small-minded, illegitimate, and dangerous adventures of Vladimir Putin. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be with so many of my colleagues from the Parliament of Canada, from the House of Commons. I think they've all been mentioned with perhaps the exception of Stella Ambler, the Member of Parliament for Mississauga South. Put up your hand, Stella. I pass this microphone over to Ted Opitz to conclude our thoughts, but vive le Canada, long live Canada, slava Ukraini!
Slava Ukraini! My friends, I was very proud to be in Ukraine over a week ago on a delegation led by the Honorable John Baird and sent by our Prime Minister. I was in a Maidan in December, but the Maidan I was in just over a week ago was a war zone. It was a revolution. And make no mistake, it is the people of Ukraine that made these changes happen. It was their will. It was their determination for freedom, for democracy, for getting rid of the thieves and the corruption and the cowards like Yanukovych, and yes, the cowards like Putin. The way he went into Crimea was cowardly, absolutely cowardly. Putin, get out of Ukraine! And we're going to make him get out of Ukraine, because we're going to do everything that we can to force Russia to demobilize and leave Ukrainian territory. The people of Ukraine have their future. They have determined that they want to live in freedom and democracy and with the rule of law. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that that happens. And ladies and gentlemen, I intend to be there in May for that election, and I hope all of you do too. Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you, Canada! Thank you, Canada! Thank you, Canada! Thank you, Canada!
Добрий день! We're here today to honor the 200th birthday of the great poet, the first great hero of Ukraine, Taras Shevchenko. And Taras Shevchenko spoke about the aspirations of the Ukrainian people. He talked about the importance of the Ukrainian language, and he spoke with his poetry about the brotherhood, about the solidarity of the Ukrainian people, and the aspirations of nationhood of all Ukrainians. You are a testament to the power of the words of Taras Shevchenko, because you have shown, along with the heroes of Maidan and the Ukrainian people, that national aspirations, democratic aspirations, the aspiration to live in peace and justice is bigger than any dictator, it's bigger than any war, and it travels across generations and around the world. You are the living testament of Taras Shevchenko. Give yourselves a round of applause. I'm here today with my colleague Sherry DeNovo. We are so proud to represent so many people of Ukrainian origin in our riding of Park Delhi Park. We just came from an art gallery exposition of contemporary Ukrainian art in honor of Taras Shevchenko. We're here in solidarity with you because we have seen firsthand your determination and your commitment to justice and democracy. And I have to say personally, just how tragic and sad I feel when I saw the Maidan in 2004 and the hope and optimism that people expressed in 2004 and compare it with the war zone of the Maidan today. But to me, it also just speaks of the determination and perseverance of the Ukrainian people. We stand with you in the full knowledge that democracy will win out for the people of Ukraine. And we, as Canadians, are with you, as people around the world are with you. And I thank my Conservative colleagues from the government for their words. In all parties in our Parliament, we stand together in solidarity with the people of Ukraine and the determination to be with you throughout these trials. We will not let go. We will not let you down. We will be with you until democracy, full democracy, flourishes in the light of day in Ukraine. Slava Ukraine! Slava demokracja! Slava Canada!
Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini! Friends, we have gathered yet again, one more time here in solidarity with Ukraine. And today we pay special tribute to Taras Shevchenko, one of the original heroes. Know this, Shevchenko would be so proud of his countrymen today. Know this, Shevchenko would be so proud that the freedom and the Ukrainian identity that he struggled for is still being fought and not forgotten by his countrymen. Thank you so much for doing this. You know something? Just as the elite of Russia were afraid of Shevchenko because he dared to talk about Ukrainian identity. In the same way, friends, do you know what Putin is most afraid of? He's afraid of a free, independent, democratic Ukraine that's part of the Western world. And friends, yes. And friends, that is exactly what we here in the West must deliver to Putin. We must deliver a free, independent, democratic Ukraine that's part of the Western world at Russia's doorstep. We in the West must stand with Ukraine. And I'm so proud that here in Ontario, we've been able to do a small part, a very small part, in standing with Ukraine, because today the Premier of Ontario announced that Ontario will be giving $100,000 in humanitarian aid to Ukraine.
Thank you, Ontario! 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 Thank you, Ontario!
And friends, I want to tell you this. This was made possible by the tireless advocacy of the Ukrainian people, because you inspire us. You inspire us every time you come out in the cold in support of Ukraine. You inspire us every time your leadership comes to Queen's Park to talk to people like me. And that is why this aid was made possible. You so deserve it, and you should be so proud. And finally, all I want to say is you inspire me. And thank you so much for welcoming me and letting me be a small part of this heroic struggle towards democracy. I promise I will be there every step of the way. Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini!
Thank you, Canada! Thank you, Canada! Thank you, Canada!
Reverend Sir, distinguished guests, and gentlemen, welcome to Nathan Phillips Square. I am privileged to bring greetings from the Council of the City of Toronto and extend to you all their very strong support for the ideals that have brought us here this afternoon on this occasion. A little while ago, a couple of days ago, we had a vigil at City Hall, and after that, on the second floor, I put out a table with a book on it, and that this is a book of support. And if you have a chance this afternoon, if you're not too rushed to escape the cold, if you could go to the second floor and sign that, I would appreciate that evidence of your support this afternoon. I want to thank the organizers of the rally. It gives all of us a chance to stand for a free Ukraine, a democratic Ukraine, and a peaceful, sovereign Ukraine. Although there are people in this square this afternoon, we speak with one powerful voice. And no matter our background, no matter our name, together, today, we are all Ukrainians.
Well, elected officials and ladies and gentlemen, I'm just here to say in the heart of our civic democracy here in Nathan Phillips Square that it is our obligation, it is our responsibility, it is our privilege to be here with you, to stand up and to say that we cannot tolerate any trampling on the democratic rights of our friends in Ukraine, and that when we have to stand here together today with our Parliament and show their support for what they have done with our legislature and what it has done with our Deputy Mayor and the City Council and what they have done, but most important of all with Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. When they trample on democracy in Ukraine, they're trampling on our respect for freedom, our embracing of freedom, the privileges we enjoy in this country as well. So I'm pleased and privileged to be here with you. I was here at the vigil the other night. I'll be back as often as we all have to be back to say no to what's going on in Ukraine. Slava Ukraine!
Слава Ісусу Христу! Слава Україні! Дорогі наші українці! Friends of the Ukrainian community, there are huge needs, and I'm only going to be talking about supporting Ukraine in a very material way. There are huge needs in Ukraine right now. Those of you who have come to demonstration after demonstration know how much you have helped already, how many lives we've saved. And for those who hadn't heard, if it wasn't for the generous donations from this community, many more lives would have been lost in Kyiv. We provided material support to protect people so they could defend themselves, and they were not dying on the streets in as great numbers as there could have been. We have an obligation to continue to help people. Many people are in hospitals, many people are at home, they've been hit in the head, in the back, shot, wounded, beaten, afraid still to go to hospitals in some cases, some being discharged from hospitals. Вони їх випустили з шпиталів, а люди мають болю, вони не мають як до праці ходити. Потрібно захищати Майдан, там далі наші активісти стоять, вони боронять той Майдан. Без них уряд України не би робив, не виконував ті рішучі кроки, що виконують. І тому я вас закликаю, зараз буде можливий бій в Україні. Зараз, можливо, буде напад в Україні. Зараз треба захищати не тільки Крим, але цілу Україну. І ми вас закликаємо. Ось наші друзі зараз підуть серед вас. Я вас закликаю. Давайте 20-ки, 50-ки, більше, якщо можете, щоб наша канадська сила, нашу канадську силу вони відчули в Україні. Щоб Україна відчула, що Канада їм не тільки допомагає гарними словами і демонстраціями, але що вони відчули і також нашу матеріальну допомогу. Бо Бог з нами, правда з нами, українці на правильний шлях, але вірте мені, також треба своїм допомагати матеріально. І тому закликаю вас, хлопці будуть переходити. Підтримуйте їх, бо ми підтримуємо Майдан не тільки в Києві, на сході України, на півдні України, там, де наші збираються. І вони дзвонять до нас постійно за допомогою. Тому закликаю вас всіх, поможіть скільки можете. Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Так, щоб в Києві чули, слава Україні!
Support Ukraine! Canada support Ukraine!
As I already said, Ukraine is not alone, and we have so many representatives from many different communities here with us today. We would like to thank Lithuanian community, Latvian community, Polish, Azerbaijan, Belarus, the Czech representatives. Thank you every single time on supporting us in our fight for democracy and for freedom. Молодці! 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 Молодці!
Lithuania is with you, Ukraine. Back home, throughout Canada, and in 40 countries of the world, we support you. Last week, the President of Lithuania, Dalia Grybauskaitė, said, "We must not be afraid. We must stand up and react promptly." May our presence here today help Ukraine stay strong and steadfast. Slava Ukraini!
My name is Liga Apostolis. I'm here as a representative of the Latvian National Youth Association in Canada and the Latvian National Federation in Canada. We're here to show our support for Ukraine from the Latvian community. Our parents and grandparents experienced the horrors of occupation from Russia. We will not let history repeat itself. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you. For a closing statement, closing remarks, I would like to invite to the microphone President of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress National, Paul Grod.
Слава Україні! Героям слава! Слава героям Майдану! A week ago today, I received a phone call from the Prime Minister of Canada while I was in Kyiv with the delegation from the Canadian government. The Prime Minister of Canada, in no uncertain terms, called to learn more about the situation in Ukraine and to express to me, as the head of the Ukrainian community in Canada, that Canada stands firmly behind Ukraine and is taking concrete measures, such as the ones mentioned today by Minister Alexander. And I thank the Prime Minister from Ukraine on behalf of our community here in Canada and on behalf of all Ukrainians. The Prime Minister talked about concrete actions, including sanctions. And I was able to, after that conversation with the Prime Minister, greet the Maidan during the Vicha on Sunday afternoon. First of all, on behalf of our community here, I deeply bowed my head to them for what they've done to bring Ukraine back on the road towards democracy, and thanked them on behalf of all of us. I explained to them that we pledge our support for them and we're paying our respects to them. The crowd roared, "Дякуємо Канаді! Дякуємо Канаді!" And it's thanks to the work that we're doing here, it's thanks to the work that you're doing in supporting these initiatives that the Government of Canada stands behind us as strongly as they do. What is very clear during my meetings in Ukraine, with the Prime Minister, with the Acting President, with various senior ministers, is that Yanukovych was clearly working for Putin. Yanukovych clearly decimated the Ukrainian state. All the structures, it's financially bankrupt. The people working in the ministries there were all working na korist Rosії. And this is what's happening in Ukraine today. Ukraine needs to rebuild itself. And what was asked of me by the Prime Minister of Ukraine and senior members is that they need our support. They need your support. They've asked me to make sure that we are demonstrating daily in front of Russian diplomatic missions to clearly demonstrate that it is Putin that is invading Ukraine. There is no two words about it. There is no delicate issue here. It's very clear that it is an invasion of Ukraine, and we have to demonstrate against that clearly and decisively. It's important for all of us around the world to make sure that the world and the international community, that the press realizes that this is a clear invasion and that the international community must stop and roll back this invasion. We need to impose clear and unequivocal sanctions, both travel restrictions and financial sanctions against Putin and his government. The government of Ukraine was very clear to me in saying this is not a war with the Russian people. In fact, the freedom-loving people of Russia want a democratic Ukraine because they also want a democratic Russia, and that is what Vladimir Putin is the most afraid of. We're encouraging Canada and all G7 countries to make sure that they throw Russia out of the G8 and it becomes a G7, and that the next G7 conference happens in Kyiv, Ukraine. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, what we are calling for is immediate military demonstration that, in fact, NATO should step up and protect Ukraine. Many of the NATO member countries, in particular Great Britain and the United States, have pledged to support Ukraine's security, and they're not doing that sufficiently. We need to show this thug, Putin, that we're not going to be weak, and that NATO will, in fact, work in Ukraine to ensure they protect Ukraine's territorial integrity. And we're calling upon Canada and all NATO countries to step up and enter Ukraine and defend Ukraine's territorial integrity. As I said this morning on CTV's question period, I said that this is the beginning of the end of Vladimir Putin and his regime. He is facing international isolation. He is facing economic turmoil for his country, and he is facing the democratization of Russia. And I believe that these demonstrations and the fact that the international community is standing up for Ukraine, that it will embolden the democratic and freedom-loving people of Russia to stand up against this dictator, the new dictator of the 21st century. Because this, my friends, is the beginning of the end of Vladimir Putin and his regime. I'd like to leave you with some words of encouragement, because I am encouraged. Meeting now with the new government of Ukraine, these people are now trying to set Ukraine on the proper course. And they're dealing with issues like corruption. They are actively moving towards joining the European Union. And these are important steps that we must support. We will be calling on all of you to lend your expertise so that we don't let Ukraine down like we did after the Orange Revolution, that we in fact go to Ukraine and help rebuild a strong, democratic, free country that respects the human rights and dignity of its people, that we need to battle with corruption, that we need to lend them our expertise, and we'll be calling on all of you to help in supporting that. We need to support Ukraine. We need to support Ukraine financially, and I'm glad that the international community is stepping up. We also need to support civil society. And these funds that you're gathering here today, and we'll continue to ask you to support these initiatives, where we're working with civil society in Ukraine and helping build up those democratic institutions are so very important. We are facing an election in May, and we'll be calling on all of you to participate in Canadian missions, in the missions that are being led by the Ukrainian World Congress to ensure that there are free and fair elections in Ukraine. What's next? What's next? All of us need to be steadfast, to keep up the pressure. To keep up the pressure internationally and to keep up the pressure on the European countries. Because unfortunately there are still several key European countries that are sitting on the fence. We need to see Great Britain, we need to see Germany impose serious economic sanctions and travel restrictions on Putin and his regime. Шановні українці, разом ми переможемо! Слава Україні!
О, рідні браття і сестри, українці, які тортури дух наш переніс. Нам в душі пхали юдинські червінці, на совість слід чужинських підошов. Алтар святий, любові, братства й згоди підступно вкрила розбрату парша. О, як же мучили тебе народи, що рідна мова стала як чужа. І де взялась та сатанинська сила, що нас до людоїдства довела? Бо не колиска ніжна, а могила приймала діток, спаливала нова. Українці, чуймо, нашими устами співають ті, хто пісню не доніс. Голодні, спалені, замучені катами, живим кладають до сердець пісні. Не даймо ж духу змученому згинути, з'єднаємось в пісні, мертві і живі. Із забуття піднімем Україну, хай чує святу правду світ.
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
О, Canada, our love native land, true patriot love, in all thy sense command, with glory hearts we see the rise, the throne of strong and free, from far and wide of Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Де срібляста ніч тремтить у темних водах, у далекий край лежить нелегкий шлях, доки хижа ніч шлях по колу. Не спи, моя рідна земля, прокинься, моя Україно, відкрий свої очі у світі далеких зірок. Все дивляться з темних небес, загиблі поети й герої, всі ті, що поклали життя за мої
здоров'я.